Right, it always takes a little bit of time to go live, but hopefully YouTube can catch up to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. I feel like I have to say something like that because we're live. A bunch of breaking news is going on right now with the BCFSA, and I'm going to get into it, and I wanted to get it out as quickly as possible. So if you're watching this on replay, as always, whenever I do a live stream, still put your answers or your questions, if you have any, in the comments. I'll try and come back after the fact to go over all of the particulars. But if you could first remember to click the like button for the YouTube algorithm to help me get this information, which is really, really important for you as anybody that owns or is thinking about owning real estate here in BC to know about, because I'm going to screen share here in a bit about the most recent announcement from the BCFSA. And make sure, well, did I say like? Yeah, hit the like button and also subscribe if you want to stay up to date on the market here in BC. But here's what's going on. I had a completely other video that stay tuned for on Monday because it's about pre-sales and how you might be getting screwed on pre-sales. But the BCFSA or my mortgage broker, Rowan Smith, was like, did you see this announcement? And I did not see it. So thank you, Rowan, for giving me this information. And we're going to talk about the cooling off period because the parameters of the cooling off period have been announced, kind of. Basically, what's gone on is the cooling off period was announced by the government, and now the governing body is putting forth their recommendations after doing due diligence, something the government didn't do originally, and this is what's coming out of it. So go ahead and hit that like button for me, and we're going to dive into the BCFSA and their most recent announcement. So here we go. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. The BCFSA delivers their report. So just to give you, they did give you a very good background here. So the BCFSA, I have full faith in you. You're doing a very good job. They're also the people that can come after me if I'm doing anything bad. So I have to say good things about them only. The BCFSA is pleased to announce it has delivered its report on the cooling off period. They're calling it Enhanced Consumer Protection to the Finance Minister. So a little bit of background. On, as they say here, on November 4th, I remember this because I was at a Leafs game when they did it, the Honorable, Selena Robinson, Finance Minister, announced that the government would implement home buyer protection period, similar to what they have in pre-sale condos or townhouses or whatever. You have a rescission period you can walk away from. They're now going to bring that into all real estate. So they did that on November the 4th. Now, pay attention to the timelines here because it's very, very, very important. Then she then called on the BCFSA, which is the regulating body, to write a report about it. So we're announcing this is happening. Now go please write your report. Then on April 25th, that's my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. April 25th, they put it into law. Okay, so they went to, I guess, the BC legislature. The government passed Bill 12, amending the Property Law Act. So they changed the law officially on April 25th. And in order to enact this cooling off period, they actually have to amend the Property Law Act. So in other words, how you own property or how people own property or government or whoever own property, that has to be changed in order for them to restrict how you sell the property. Here's the problem with this. When they made that announcement, or when they changed the law, they literally changed the law. They changed it with a blank check. So they did not have a law written. It just says basically to be announced. I can't imagine, like, people are not up in arms about this because they're just now starting to pass laws that are like, oh yeah, the law's in, we'll write it later. But anyway, this is besides the point. Let's keep going. That's what they've done. So the BCFSA has now put forth, after doing their research with, it says here, 140 industry experts, none of them me, thank goodness. I'm probably not the right guy to listen to. Industry organizations, obviously, the BCREA, which is the Association of Agents, consumer and public interest organizations, sure, subject matter experts. Again, none of them were me. So now they have made the recommendations and there are bullet points here, but luckily the full report is also ready. So we're going to dive into that a little bit because guess what, buyers? You don't get it all your own way. There's going to be some negative that comes out of this for you, as there is whenever there are unintended consequences as a result of changes of laws for benefiting for silly reasons, in my opinion. But what are you going to do? By the way, if any of you, I think there's 17 people on right now, so thanks for being there. If you have any questions, stop me. I will check into the comments in the live stream as well, or the live chat. Okay, so here is what, now this is not necessarily the rules. This is not the law. This is nothing to do with that. This is now just the government has received a report from their own employees, basically. The BCFSA is their government appointed employees. And now what should we do? So in the event that they don't implement it like this, that would be the government saying we don't trust our own people. So hopefully this is what they actually do put in place. So the parameters for the home buyer protection period are as follows. Now they've actually added more protections on this, but just the cooling off period, or what is now being called the protection period, is 3 clear business days. So now we have a determination of how long this is going to be. 3 clear business days, just so you understand what that means, is just like when we serve notice for showing a property to a tenant, you need 24 hours clear notice. So if I write my offer Monday night, 3 clear business days means as long as Monday, well, I guess it doesn't matter if Monday's a holiday or not. I accept my offer Monday night. Now, my rescission period lasts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? And now the question is Thursday the last day, or are those the 3 clear days and then you get one on the other end? Because those would be clear days, would actually be 4 business days, not including the day you accept it. So interesting to see how that is going to be regulated. Now, it also says business days. So does that mean it stops at 5 p.m.? I doubt it, but maybe it does. Non-waivable, meaning the buyer is not allowed to not include this in their contract. The question is, does the seller have to accept it in their contract? So that's going to be an interesting thing to see. This is my favorite part, and I'm going to get into this later, so stick around a little bit later. Narrow exemptions. They are going to make exemptions, or they're recommending exemptions from it. Buyers that are interested in how this is going to protect you, it looks like there will now be a termination clause to stop frivolous offers. Now, personally, as a real estate agent, as someone who is not happy when I have to do a bunch of work and I don't get paid on it, which happens often, a termination fee is going to be great for us, because we're going to see way less offers for people that don't want to, I guess, really go ahead with the offer. Cool part about that, stick around, because that is elaborated on in the report. So it will now cost you to get out of a contract like it didn't do before. So they're protecting you, buyers. Keep going. Considering requiring disclosure of other active offers by prospective buyers. So here is what I'm trying to figure out. Considering requiring disclosure of other active offers by prospective buyers. So what they're saying is, if you are a buyer and you are writing other offers on other properties, you will now have to disclose that to the seller, because you're now going to have to say, okay, yeah, I actually have an offer over on that other property, but I kind of want to offer on yours too. So I'm only going to buy one property, so maybe your offer will go ahead, maybe it won't. We'll pick later. The least enforceable thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So I would love to see how that one goes. Really only 1 like, guys, so far. Jeez, give me a like button. There's 10 people watching. Give me a like. Reasonable access to the property for the buyer conducting due diligence activities such as home inspections or confirmation of financing. Of course, that pretty much happens already. There's nobody saying, hey, no, you can't come in and do a home inspection. So sure, that's fine. Now, that's the cooling off period. The other recommendations they are recommending are the ones that were actually put forward by the realtors. So the government didn't put forward these things. These are recommendations specifically from the BCREA, and I'm actually a big fan of them. In addition to home buyer protection period, establish a so now you're going to have to be on the market for 5 days pre-offer. So you need 5 days on the market, then you can accept your offer. Then you're going to need 3 clear days before you can either walk away or not for the rescission period. So sorry, sellers, you will now have to be on the market for a minimum of 8 business days, minimum. Probably more than that. So you're going to be on the market for 10 days no matter what. Now, I don't think that's crazy, but some people may. Further enhanced transparency, require property disclosure forms. I did a video on this. PDS is not required, absolutely should be. And finally, that was a BCREA suggestion. Now, here's my suggestion. If the BCFSA is watching this, BCREA, which I'm sure you're not because only 14 people are, with only still 1 like, so it won't get to them, by the way, so hit the like button. There should be no reason not to have a rental disclosure property, a property disclosure form specifically for rentals. So the reason landlords don't fill in the form is because they don't live there, they don't know anything about the property. I think the BCFSA should say, too bad, landlords, you should absolutely have to disclose. And if you don't know if there was a leak in the property, it's your job to find out, not the buyers. That's what I think they should do, but what are you going to do? Transparent bidding process. So they are considering, it's just explore at this point in time. Further explore open bids, which the federal government is doing, but they can't actually regulate. Open-end auctions. So again, they do want to have they are promoting the idea of having a live auction, of which then when the person wins, they can walk away at the end, which is absolutely ridiculous and silly to me, but it is what it is. Open bidding in BC real estate market. So implications of open. So identification of implications of open bidding. Yeah, they got to look into this. You have to know that Australia and Sweden both have open bidding, and they both have worse affordability problems than we do here. So open bidding is not a tool to drive down prices, which is what I think we should be doing, is trying to make housing affordable. Consider implementing disclosure of the number. This one is interesting. Let's read this slowly. Consider implementing a disclosure of the number and price of offers where a buyer is asked to revise their offer in multiple bid situation. I am not going to hate this one. I hate a lot of things that people do and propose for this. I'm really hating that there's only 2 likes right now, so hopefully some more people can get in there. But at this point, if you're going to ask a buyer to revise, which happens often in multiple offer situations, I don't hate the idea of saying, okay, I'm going to ask you to revise, but here's the other offer. So that is, I guess, a version of open offers, I guess, an auction system. But I think that is actually something that is it's much more conducive with the way the system might actually work currently, and then it would be easier to implement. So I wouldn't be hating that at all. Required inclusion of standard optional clauses related to financing home inspection. Okay, so what they're saying there is when you have the contract, and I explained the whole contract in another video, it hasn't changed much since then, but when you have a contract, you have the pre-written contract that is supplied by the BCREA, and then you have addendums or blank fields where the realtor fills in specifics. What they're saying is they want to take financing, home inspection, insurance, and legal advice and make them standard built into the form. Maybe not a bad thing. I mean, they're going to be there anyway, I guess, because they're going to be at least 3 days. But check this one out. This one I find really interesting. Enhanced disclosure post-sale. So after you sell your home as a homeowner, require the seller to make an anonymized, I'm guessing that means take names out, disclosure of offers to all prospective buyers who submitted an offer. So in other words, after the whole thing's done, Sorry losers, sorry winner. I'm now going to show you what all of the offers were. I know I'm interested with this one because I do think that that is great information for the real estate agents to have to see and advise their clients on the next offer should they not get it. But if somebody does overbid and they're happy to do it that time, and then they receive paperwork later on saying the next bid was $30,000 under, they're probably either going to try and come back for a haircut and get that price down, which is renegotiation, or they're going to try and get out of that contract. And a lot of what the government is doing right now and what we're going through in the market has a lot to do with people trying to get out of contracts because buyers think short term, and they think if I'm moving in and it's not worth what I paid for it that day or anymore because I paid for it 3 months ago, they want to walk away. So I do think that is going to create a lot of problems. But now I'm going to keep blabbering here. I did go to the actual report itself. The link is down below in the description. If anybody is interested in viewing these pages, it'll take you here, and then you can just pop into, I think, third paragraph down, the full report. It is 80 pages. I did not read it all, but I did skim it, and there are some things that I would like to bring up. I believe it was on page 24. Couple of interesting points. I would like to point out the complete hypocrisy of exactly what's going on here. Really, only 2 likes still. Hey, 14 viewers, 2 likes. Oh well, I don't blame you. I don't really like me either. This was the highlighted conclusions, I guess, from the meetings that they had with all of these professionals and stakeholders in the industry. You'll see a lot of this. I don't know if I can zoom in on this so you can see it. No clear consensus or appropriate duration. So you'll see that everywhere. Participants did not reach a consensus. So all of the people in the industry, the professionals, nobody agrees. Nobody agrees what the heck's going on. Nobody agrees what should be going on. So everybody has their own opinion. And that's what we got to deal with. So one thing I did notice here was, it's right up at the top of the page. I remember earlier I said the exceptions for the cooling off period. So when you or the property are opted out possibly of this. Now, hypocrisy, you tell me. You can opt out if the owner is a provincial body. Can I mic drop while I'm here? So the province is saying, we get to opt out of this, but we're going to make you do it with your property. Hypocritical? I sure think so. Anyway, the rest of the exemptions, we'll go through them, but support considering the exemptions. So these are not set, but they are for commercial properties. So commercial properties, you're out of luck. This is residential only. Investment properties. So if I'm buying an investment property, I don't need to have that because then every buyer is just going to say they're an investor. Or when I'm selling my investment property, I don't know. Newly built homes, which is hilarious because newly built homes already have a rescission period. So I guess you don't opt out of one and into the other one. Estate sales, which we deal a lot of. So estate sales, are they just firm offers only? And then again, as I pointed out, anything conducted or owned by the provincial body itself. Silly, right? Like they're literally putting in rules saying, no, this only goes for you, the citizens, us, the government, we're off the hook. So the other one I'm going to do here is termination fee. And this is what I found, which is really, really, really interesting because you, the buyer that they are now going to protect. The BCFSA advises establishing a modest termination fee, for example, 0.1 to 0.5% of the purchase price to be paid by the buyer who exercises their right of cooling off. So I don't know how that's going to go. Oh, I can't even see it there. Let me get that back up for you. I don't even know how that's going to go because I would assume this has to be a deposit paid upon acceptance. But if you do that calculation right now on $1 million property, you are now going to have a walk-away fee of somewhere between $1,000 and $5,000. Now, again, as a real estate agent, I think that's great because I'm going to have less frivolous offers and more people are going to be committed to the process, which probably is what should be happening anyway. You should be committed to buying the home that you're offering on and not just throwing offers out there to see what happens. Those people should not be writing offers. But if it costs you $5,000 to walk away from any offer now, well, I mean, more than that, $10,000 on a $2 million property, which is not an uncommon price point now in my market. I don't know. This actually does kind of even the playing field a little bit because the frivolous offers will be much less. Now, if this is payable only to exercise that, well, you're never going to get that money out as a seller, right? That buyer will walk away and you'll never ever get that money and you're going to chase them to small claims court. Who knows? We'll read a little bit. Currently submits multiple offers, unconditional offers to purchase the home. Yeah. So it's just a little bit of background. So I'm interested to see what anybody has to say about this. Like I said, leave comments if you want. I can't believe there's nobody in the chat. Normally I have plenty of people in the chat. Still only 2 likes though. So what are you gonna do? It is interesting now. The government put it in place. The cooling off period is there. It is not written on what it is. And now we've got recommendations, which how it's written, it's kind of crazy. So what they've done is they've said, okay, we're going to do it your way, government, but we're also going to take all the recommendations from the realtors, which I think is cool. And now we're probably getting a crazy level of protection that I don't think we need at all anymore. Because right now in my marketplace here in Surrey anyway, every single deal we get is subject, if not subject to sale. The market hit the brakes 2 or 3 weeks ago. Literally done, stopped. And every buyer can have as much protection as they want now. And it's just not needed. So you can't make rules for market conditions. You should only be making rules to protect people, right? And I'm not like, you should protect people, but not due to the market condition where one is favored over the other. And we're in a very good system right now. I do have a question or a comment or something. Let's see. Not sure how different this is opposed to having subjects. It's not. It's mandatory subjects. Aside from it being mandatory, you can walk away from a subject offer for any reason you want. Just had this happen to me. Yes and no. So what I'm interested to see is how this integrates. I'm interested to see if the subject period being offered is 7 days. Is there just the cooling off period disappears? That could be. So if that happens, yeah, I guess I don't know how that would work. But that now 3-day period. So if the market is hot, you're saying, okay, I get 3 days to think about it. So I guess that would be maybe if it was only unconditional. Now you make a comment here, B8 addict. I don't know what B8 is, but you just had it happen to you where somebody walked away from the transaction for any reason. Yes and no. Legally, if you were to track down that person, for instance, if they say, no, I can't get my financing, you could, in a perfect world, go after that person and say, prove to me that you could not get your financing. But the situation to do that, or the ability to actually go after that person, first of all, you'd have to prove it. Second of all, you'd have to go after them in court. And then even if you did win, it would be 3.5, 4 years later. And how are you going to get the money out of them? You're never going to do it. So that's why buyers feel comfortable walking away from any subject for any given reason. They just go, yeah, I got a subject, I'm not removing it. Deal is done. I have seen it where, for instance, someone had a subject to sale. So just so you know, subject to sale, usually you have all your conditions removed first. Then you have a subject to sale period that goes on for, let's call it 30 days. I have had someone, not my client, but I have seen someone who removed all their offer or their conditions, Now the only subject was subject to sale. The property did sell. The buyer's property did sell, and then the owner that had, or the original seller that had the offer that was subject to sale, looked at it and said, it's sold, you have to remove your condition, and the buyer did not remove their condition. So at that point, you can prove that they didn't follow through with their good word, and that is actually really in the weeds and kind of in the sticks, but very, very interesting. I have 4 likes now. That's better than 1, so I appreciate that. I'm going to wrap this up unless anybody else has any other questions that they would like to type into the chat right now. Remember, if you're watching this on replay at all, type in more questions and I'll come back in the comments. I understand I'm a little bit early for my Friday video doing 2 o'clock, but a little bit so everybody understands exactly what's going on in the market, just to wrap this up. And the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board area, my marketplace area that is North Delta all the way to Mission right now, has now increased to 5,700 listings. This is a balanced market condition. There are 1,000 sales, let's call it, I think it was 1,200 sales, something like that, so far this month, and there are 5,700 active listings, and that means we are in balance. So how can we be in balance? Because that means prices should stay neutral, but prices are coming down. It's because the prices were never really established as being that high for very long. And so that's what I would call the froth at the top of the beer, right? You pour a beer, beer fills up. You actually only still have this much beer, but it looks like you got more on the top. So that has come off, and we're finding that new level. What is happening though, subject to sale is everywhere. They're not coming together. And unfortunately, well, I guess it's going to happen. Buyers are out there just throwing in ridiculously low offers, hoping that they find somebody who's hurting and that they're going to get a good deal. Oh, I got another question. Look at that. Is it a good time to buy in the Fraser Valley? My answer to this in sellers markets, buyers markets, balance markets is always the exact same thing. And that is, how long do you plan on holding the property? How long you plan on holding the property is the answer to your question. The issue, or why everybody's so terrified right now about the marketplace, is everyone thinks too short term, right? And all these guys that have gone out there and bought these properties and tried to flip them or make a quick buck or flip a pre-sale, assign a pre-sale, they're thinking very short term. And those people are not much different from people that you see at the casino, right? They're literally putting down their money, hoping it hits. And unfortunately, they've looked really, really smart over the last 2 years. Anybody bought 05, 06, 07, 08, they didn't look so smart until 2017. They held those properties. I was just discussing this. I know someone who bought in 2004, 2005, completed 2008 in City Point. They City Point's 108th and University, I want to say, and they did not balance. They did not. The market dipped so deep for 9 years that they did not clear until 2017. So they held that property from 2008 to 2017. Now, if they held that property for just another 4 years, they would have more than doubled their money from that point. So how long do you hold it is kind of going to be the biggest thing. How long are you going to hold it? Forever, single family, not planning to sell. Buy it. Don't overthink it. If you're planning on buying it and you're going to live in it, you got to live somewhere. So go ahead and buy properties. I am personally thinking that most people that are on the investor side, as soon as you see 7 to 8 months of supply, which we may come across by late summer, that's going to be the time to jump in. Don't wait for the market to take off again, because it will. But if it is end user, you are an end user, you are going to live in the property, 100%. Buy it, start paying down your mortgage. Stress test, I think, has helped a lot of people get into spots where they they can afford more than what they're actually paying, so they could be in a good spot. Hey, I even got a thank you. I hope whoever, somebody Meister, you're one of the people that gave the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's what the market's doing. I think just so everybody understands, the market right now, a few weeks ago, is like a light switch. Everybody's panicked, everybody's scared, so they're just like, nope, not doing it anymore. Which to me points out the thing that I've said forever and ever and ever. This whole we don't have enough homes thing is, I don't believe it personally. I don't. Money was too cheap, and too many people that would not have bought a property invested and were able to buy properties because money was so cheap. And as a result, you see a balloon in the marketplace. And that's, I mean, 40% in 1 year is never really going to be a good thing long term. So you have to look at it at a longer term. Like, for instance, I bought an investment property pre the takeoff, like halfway through the pandemic. And I was like, go ahead and I'm going to buy this right now. And I told everybody on this channel to buy it, to buy something, because I knew it was going to happen. Now, I had a 10-year outlook. I bought for $465. I had a 10-year outlook and saying, I hope this is worth $650 in 10 years. It's worth $700 today. So we saw too much of an advance too quickly. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Is this going to change? Hey, it's Nolan. Is this going to change how you operate as a buyer's agent? Oh, the whole point of this video, you mean? Is it going to change how you operate as a buyer's agent? You're going to have to, we don't know yet. I don't know if it will change how I operate as on the buy side. There will be things, I will have to manage people's expectations of, you know, for instance, the $5,000 fee that you may have to pay in order to walk away from a property. But I think more than anything, it is going to put a ridiculous amount of forms in front of a seller of which they care nothing about. All the extra disclosures that they're talking about. When like if you're selling a property right now in BC, the contract is 6 pages. The pages of disclosure for that same property is somewhere between, let's call it 12 and, I mean, I've seen as high as 36. So it's really kind of stupid because the sellers just say, I don't care about any of this paperwork. I don't care about the commission disclosure. I already know I'm paying you a certain percentage. So it's just more pieces of paper in front of people that are just trying to make a decision on selling their home. So I can't see it being anything but more work for the agents, which in my opinion, this is an unpopular one, in my opinion, it's going to drive real estate commissions up. Because if I can't sell as many homes as in a timely manner, and I have to do more work, I have to hire more staff, I have to charge more. So from the buyer side, I don't see a big deal. It's going to be interesting if they don't have a fee involved. Buyers agents are going to be frustrated because people are going to be walking away like crazy because they have no commitment to the deal, right? They have absolutely no commitment to the deal. And if people aren't committed to the process, my opinion is they shouldn't be writing on the offers in the first place. All right, I think we are wasting everybody's time now. 29 people on, I like it. Only 9 likes. Oh man, I got another one here. I'm gonna keep going. Sahil, what's going on, brother? I'm a first-time buyer right now. My goal is to move out of rental home. Okay, cool. That should be everybody's goal. Get out of a rental. Get own. I'm not in a hurry. According to you, I should buy this month or wait for a couple of months. Again, what is the plan? I guess you have to set your parameters. Your parameters are what does success look like to you? Nolan's in it. I don't know if he's still watching, but if he is, he can maybe comment on this type of thing. Being a mortgage broker. You have to look at, most people are focused on price. All the bubble bursters, all the idiots out there that are just scared in their mom's basement, gonna get me a lot of bad comments. If anybody's watching this deep in, they're worried about purchase price, and that's all they understand. Everybody else that I deal with is worried about, if you have a family, you're worried about monthly payment. So if interest rates are going up and prices are coming down, I think prices are going to come down to a certain spot. and then interest rates will continue to go up, and it will be more expensive to fund the same purchase the longer you wait. That's what I think is going to happen. Everybody says, oh, I'm just going to go to variable rate. Okay. I mean, I've always been a little bit more conservative, especially if I was a first-time buyer and I wasn't there yet. I wanted the fixed rates. I do think, though, if your measure of success is just a lower purchase price, probably end of summer is going to be better than now. Probably September is going to be better than now. I think there's a very good chance that interest rates go up again, and then they could go down, I don't know, as soon as November. That everything is accelerated. So the Bank of Canada was talking about rates staying low until the middle or end of 2023. They're already ratcheting them up way faster than anybody expected. So in the event that they do that, they're going to shut off the market faster than they expected, which they've done, and then they're going to peel it back quicker than they expected. So I think everything is going to happen so much faster because communication gets out there. The market moves faster than it ever has before. So I think our downturn is likely going to last 6 months. There is the possibility that the downturn lasts as much as 18 months, maybe more if something crazy happens and there's some crazy financial crash that we're all not expecting. But the market that you're seeing right now, even the stock market, sure, it's sliding. It's getting rid of gains that probably shouldn't have been there. Again, it was cheap money. People are literally borrowing money on their house because they could at 1.5% and investing in the stock market. Stupid move. So Sahil, if your measurement, maybe you can type it if you're still watching in the comments. What's your measurement for success? Is it a certain level of payment? Is it a certain purchase price? Do I just want to pay 10% less, right? Like you have to set those criteria in before. So man, I'm rambling here, but one of the things that people say most often is I'm going to wait and see. Foolish. Not waiting isn't foolish. I'm going to wait and see is a foolish statement because you need to set what your goal is. You need to set and say, okay, what am I waiting for? Because if you're just going to wait and see, you're just going to wait and see, and you're going to be waiting forever and ever and ever. Nothing will ever happen. So if you say, you know what, I'm looking at that 2-bedroom apartment right now in Wally, and that sucker is $6.25. A year ago it was $4.50. I think, given what interest rates are doing, I think if the market comes down, let's say it drops 10, 15%, whatever the number is, at $5.50, that's a good buy. Then wait for that if you think it's going to come. I don't know if it'll get there, but if that's your measure, you can't wait for it to drop to $5.50 and then go, I'm going to still wait and see. It's foolish. Nolan chiming in, man, you're still watching me? Don't you got other better things to do? Does everybody realize Nolan and I are actually friends and not really beefing? Anyway, I don't know if they do. Not on his channel, they don't anyway. I think you get really clear about the property you want. Buy it for the long term. Absolutely. And when you find a good price relative to the market, you buy it. It's as simple as that, right? Too many people try and think it. I overpaid. I'll give you an example. I overpaid for my house. The house I'm in right now, I overpaid. I wanted the house. I was going to plan to be there long term. I've already been there almost 10 years. I know when I did an evaluation on that house at that time, it was worth exactly $689, not a penny more. I paid $701 for it. Plus I'm a realtor, so I tossed in my commissions. I can do that. And I ended up relatively paying $720 for a house that was worth $689. It's now easily worth, let's call it 1.8. Don't overthink it. You're buying long-term, Nolan says. Any short-term change in price will just be a blip. 100%. My success would be buying $750K townhouse in Surrey, 3 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms, you're there. 3 bedrooms, you'd be on the low end. Townhouses, I'll give you an example. A client of mine bought pre-pandemic but moved in during the pandemic, right in the shutdown. $499. Now we're selling similar properties at the peak for like $9, and now they're back down to like $760. So that was like a 2-bed. So 3-bed. If we can set that measurement for you, Sahil, as a 3-bedroom townhouse somewhere in Surrey, we'd have to specify neighborhood because they obviously range. at 750, you might get there. You might get there. You might get there by September. Really, 800 is going to be a better number. But right now, they're like 825 to 875. Right? So cool. I'm really going to wrap it up this time because there's no more questions. Nobody needs to hear me. There's 16 likes, which I appreciate. 33 people watching. I can't believe you people watch me talk, but what are you going to do? Please subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments after you leave what you think about this whole cooling off period craziness. And oh, Nolan says he's putting me on his channel. Good. Tell people that I'm not a bad guy, Nolan. They hate me. I want you to know I don't ever talk about dislike button versus like button, but ever since I've we had a little fun on our channel with Nolan, my dislikes have gone at least, well, I usually get 1 to 2 per video. Currently I'm getting 8 to 20. So Nolan, you got good friends out there that really like you. Okay, thanks everybody. I'm gonna wrap this up. Leave comments down below, subscribe, all that junk. Oh, and if you want to hear all the other videos but not the lives like this on audio, you can do that